Hey everyone, welcome to Realization Hub. My name is Michelle Corazao-Dinu, and I'm an intuitive reader, energy healer, spiritual counselor, and channeler who loves to bridge the gap between the unseen world of energy, consciousness, intuition, and spirit so that it can apply to your everyday human experience. In today's video, I'm going to be doing an energy update for December 2021. I'll be going over the energy dynamics for mass consciousness, those of you in your awakening, and those of you in your embodied enlightenment. If you'd like to skip around in this video, you can do so by finding those timestamps in the description box below. If you like watching these energy updates, please like this video and subscribe to this channel. It really helps me out a lot. If you're interested in receiving any of my monthly newsletters, you can find the link below to sign up. I like to share some wisdom stories as well as all my offerings in my group sessions that I offer each month. And of course, you can schedule a personal session with me anytime you like if you need extra support. Let's go ahead and get started. All right, so let's go ahead and get started with mass consciousness. When I was tuning into mass consciousness, I saw this image of a boiling pot of water on a stove. And one of the most obvious things I see in that image is just a lot of things kind of under pressure or heat starting to bring things to the surface. So mass consciousness might be under some stress in December. Maybe the speed starts to pick up in their lives on some level. Things start moving faster. It is the holiday season, so perhaps that's the reason why. However, there's an obvious, purging that's happening, things coming to the surface. And when I started to tune into what that was about, I saw that it had to do with essentially the way mass consciousness relates to themselves and other people, and maybe even the energy out around them. And so I was noticing things about old trauma starting to come up to the surface. A lot of times when we start to step out of, the unsafe situation and we start to bring ourselves back into a safe situation, it does allow us to release any trauma that was stored within us. So it might be a good sign that as a whole, or as a whole, mass consciousness might be creating more of a safe space for themselves, a safer experience for themselves, and that's allowing them to release some old relationship traumas. Another thing I was noticing about it was just a lot of dynamics around self-worth. Just where that self-worth is in need of a healing, which, interestingly enough, affects the abundance that people have. So I really, when I overall look at this image, it kind of reminds me of like preparing what you need to prepare so that you can create what you want. Whenever you're cooking and you're waiting for water to boil, it starts boiling, and then that's when you add the food in there to cook the food. All right, so all this stuff coming up to the surface, stuff from the subconscious, old traumas, old self-worth issues, abundance issues, all of that kind of rising to the surface. It's happening so that mass consciousness can actually kind of clear the way and create their heart's desires. And when I was feeling into that, I definitely sensed that mass consciousness was yearning for more freedom, more diversity, more abundance, and just more ease in life, just wanting to live a better life or a good life. So I'm going to go ahead and shuffle some cards. Today, I just picked out a deck here. I'm using the Light Seers Tarot. I'm going to pick a card for mass consciousness. And first card I want to pick, I just want to, pick a card, have some fun, and clarify anything we need to know about this, things coming up to the surface. So the two cards to help clarify what's coming up to the surface is the Two of Swords and this World card. Immediately when I feel into this Two of Swords cards, I feel this kind of mental energy of indecision, like having to weigh things out between two decisions, between two options. Feeling like feeling like there's not enough clarity and there's a lot of just thinking and processing and analyzing and not really knowing which decision or which path or which option to take. When I tune into this card, I see the energy of a tornado. So this is immediately telling me that there's a type of energetic storm that's starting to move through mass consciousness in December. And that it's really, going to be stirring up the mind again. We kind of had a lot of these energetic storms circulating through mass consciousness in the summer. We had a lot of mental activity rising in October, and now it looks like in December we're going to have another type of energetic storm. It's very cyclical, just like that tornado. It's fast, and it looks like maybe it might have your mind kind of going into circles about things, debating about things, having trouble deciding things. And with that, there's this World card. And this reminds me of kind of like what happens after the storm. And this is kind of like a full circle event. It's like a kind of a sign of completion, but completion in like a wholesome way. I specifically notice in this card like an image of a plant growing, and it finally shows a blossom on it and it starts to blossom. So right off the bat, there's something that has been kind of growing in mass consciousness, maturing in mass consciousness. It's been in need of lots of kind of nurturing and clarity and waiting and kind of that energy of like what it would take to kind of grow something. And it looks like in December, something finally starts to come to fruition. Something finally starts to blossom. Something finally starts to come to full circle. So it looks like, this energy that I was picking up on of the boiling pot of water and, things coming up from deep within and coming up to the surface and preparing to create, your heart's desire, debating back and forth between options, and then coming to a sense of completion or full circle event or fruition. And this is what's in the energy for December. So I could see that, for mass consciousness in December, they may be taking some timeouts, just like when you're waiting for a pot to boil in the kitchen. You can't rush it. You can't, the longer you stare at it, the longer it takes to boil. It's kind of a funny dynamic like that. So I see that when stuff starts coming up to the surface, there's some wisdom coming through about it. That it's not a time to focus on the stuff coming up from the surface and just sit there and stare at it and kind of wait for it to solve itself or try to force it to release faster or it's probably better to kind of keep yourself a little bit busy, distract yourself, recognize that you're having a big release, that old stuff's coming to the surface, and that it's all there to help prepare you for what you want to create. You know, in this card, I see the image of like a chalkboard and someone like creating tally marks. So mass consciousness has been counting the days, been really waiting. It kind of reminds me of like keeping track of something. There's something in mass consciousness, for people maybe on an individual basis where they've been kind of keeping track of something, something that I think is bothering them in your lives. For mass consciousness, there might be something bothering you. There could be something that you're debating. There could be an inability to make a choice or a decision about something. And at the same time, you've been maybe tracking experiences, or mass consciousness has been keeping tally or just waiting, kind of like that energy of waiting for that water to boil, or waiting for it to be ready to finally cook up what you want to cook up, Looks like it comes to a completion in December. There's something that maybe you finally come to, maybe mass consciousness kind of finally puts their foot down and makes a decision about something. And again, this could be seen kind of on a global level, on an individual basis, where individuals in their own life are finally making a decision about something, or putting an end to something, or completing something. But this has a positive energy to it. It's kind of got this fruition type of feeling to it, like a blossom that finally opens, or a plant that finally shows a flower. It's kind of hopeful. Okay, so this is all telling me that whatever is coming up to the surface, it's bringing about a type of fruition, a type of result, a type of a full circle event, a type of wholesome completion that an individual or mass consciousness can enjoy. I'm going to go ahead and pull some more cards here. When I feel this, I feel like this is the result of what happens after the release of things that come up to the surface for individuals. Mass consciousness is going through kind of an energetic storm in December. A lot of stuff is coming up to the surface. It increases their self-worth. It helps them heal trauma. It helps them open up to receiving. It helps them create what they want from their hearts. And it generally looks like it's bringing them to a new world. So I was going to pull a couple more cards for mass consciousness, but a couple just really popped out. One was rebirth. Another one was synchronicity. So immediately with this card, I picked up that, things are going to happen outside of what the mind can figure out or understand. This card tells me that, mass consciousness has been struggling. Maybe individuals in mass consciousness have been struggling with a decision, or two different ideas, or two different pathways, or a couple different options, or, just not really seeing how it's going to work out, being kind of feeling confused, not really having that full clarity, and really mentally trying to figure it out. And then this card comes out and it's kind of like, bam, synchronicity. That's something that the mind can't control. That's something that the mind usually doesn't understand. That's something the mind can't create or figure out, synchronicity. So it looks like what helps, release this mental activity is synchronicity. Just kind of things working out for you, things coming together, your clarity kind of happening magically. And then there's this rebirth energy. And this is, I really feel like connecting with this card of the world. It's not necessarily like the end of something. Like the world card can really signify a completion type of energy. But what I felt about mass consciousness when I was seeing that boiling pot of water is that it was like this preparation for a new creation, like a new world, you know? And then we get this card of rebirth. So I look at the energy of this rebirth card. And I get the impression that, you know, people are making, in mass consciousness, people start to commit to something. You know, there's been this energy of not being able to make a decision or commit to something. And then we've got this energy of rebirth where I see kind of a bigger commitment being made to something. It's kind of an important commitment. You know, it's just like if you gave birth to a baby. You know, it would take a lot of time and energy each day to nurture that new beginning, and that commitment that you made to that child, creating that child and giving birth to that child and now sustaining that child. So it just seems like there's a rebirth energy coming through in December, that would require a commitment, would require your attention, would require that you kind of show up every day for it and have a relationship with it. When I tune into this energy of synchronicity, this has to do with what people are creating. Again, there's been this energy of trying to figure it out, going back and forth, maybe different options, feeling disoriented, not really knowing which direction to take. And then we have this synchronicity related to what mass consciousness is creating. At some point, this serendipity or this synchronicity comes through and kind of opens up a doorway or an opportunity for something to kind of shine through, for mass consciousness to kind of find their way into what they want to create. So if I was to sum up mass consciousness in December, you know, I would say that there's kind of a purge happening, kind of like an energetic purge that happens, like a cleansing of sorts. A lot of things that are deep within coming up to the surface. It's helping to clear the way for mass consciousness to create what they want. And mass consciousness seems to be coming out of a place of indecision, stuckness, disorientation, lack of clarity, and actually synchronistically finding their way and making a commitment to themselves or towards a creative endeavor or project or commitment. And that leads them to a new world. That leads them to a rebirth kind of energy, a completion, a fruition, a full circle event, but also an opening into something new. So, I mean, I've been watching mass consciousness the past few months, and I have been noticing a lot of people starting to individually kind of change the direction of their lives. And perhaps there has been a struggle for some people. You know, this card, you know, if you just look at the image and you don't know anything about the Two of Swords, you know, she's kind of struggling in this image. So I think that, you know, mass consciousness, although they've been changing their direction, I do think that they've been kind of struggling with that and not really mentally knowing how to navigate it. I'm just going to pull out one more card. Anything else to be known about mass consciousness and December 2021? The card I get here is Mother Healing. And it says, as your feelings toward your mother heal, your desires manifest more rapidly and accurately. So I was seeing that some of the stuff coming to the surface was related to the heart and was related to relationships, related to old traumas, self-worth. And it's interesting that this Mother Healing card comes up. It seems like this is, some of the stuff coming to the surface is old, could be related to you as an inner child, to individuals and the way that they were raised, their inner child, integrating things from childhood, maturing, learning how to reparent themselves, learning how to love themselves, learning how to give compassion to themselves, nurture themselves, value themselves. I see a lot of wisdom coming through in this card. A lot of wisdom around having compassion for yourself, loving yourself, being patient with yourself, giving yourself plenty of space to grow and mature, listening to yourself, nurturing yourself. If you think about what an ideal mother would be like for you, I see mass consciousness getting a healing around this. Like drawing in some wisdom and applying it to themselves. All right, everyone. I'm going to go ahead and move on to those of you in your awakening. Hello to those of you going through your awakening. When I tune into you in December, I see this image of you like on one of those bicycles, like popping a wheelie, burning some rubber, about to speed ahead really fast. So I definitely pick up, for those of you in your awakening, things start to pick up the pace, like things start to speed up for you. There's a fast acceleration of expansion happening for you in December. And when I started to tune into what that was about, I noticed a lot, this other image of like all these popcorn under pressure starting to pop open. And I noticed that that had to do with your spiritual information and your knowingness and the way you present yourself and the way you set the tone in your life and the way you hold your certainty through life. It's almost like these potentials start to open up for you. These ideas start to burst open. These insights, these ahas, these epiphanies, they just start to open up really quickly. However, what I notice about that is kind of that dynamic of popcorn under pressure. There might be stress that increases because things are happening really fast energetically for you, or just pressure, or just that feeling of your body or your mind having to keep up with the fast acceleration that you're moving through in December. So definitely, energetically, you'll be moving really fast, but physically, you might not have to. So it's okay to take breaks, get some extra rest, slow it down, because your energetic expansion is happening really fast in December. I also noticed that you were having some type of release or energy detox around your relationships. Now, I noticed this for mass consciousness too. It seemed that mass consciousness was having a big purge of things from deep within coming up to the surface. But for you, I just see a general release, and it looked like it had to do with energies that keep you out of alignment with your heart. I see more of like an alignment starting to happen for you. And when I tuned into that energy, I was seeing you releasing energies that would limit your ability to walk your talk You know, you might say one thing and do something different, or you might do something and say something different, but something looked kind of misaligned. And then I saw you releasing that, and it just looks like you're bringing more alignment into your heart and into what you want and into what you're attracting in your relationships and what you're creating, what you're doing, what you're saying. You know, there's a lot more alignment starting to happen in December. I'm going to go ahead and pull some cards for you, see if we can get any information about, you know, this fast acceleration that you're going through. Anything else that might be coming up that you might want to know about for December. All right. Yeah, we get this card. Gnosis. Right. We also get this card, the Mountain. Yeah. Okay. So my first hit with this Gnosis card is knowingness. And this is exactly where I was seeing your expansion happening in December. It looked like your knowingness was really opening up very quickly. You know, just like when you're making popcorn and all of that heat and pressure, suddenly just everything starts popping open all at once. So, you know, in this card, there's a moon, there's some, you know, lines lining up, there's a bird flying, there's some colors. I'm going to tune into this card. Yes. So this opening in your knowingness that's happening really fast in December, it's kind of like when it's helping you align. You know, I mentioned that thing about alignment earlier, like around the heart. There's some energies releasing to help you align, and it's also helping you open up really fast in your knowingness. And it looks like there's just a lot of alignment happening, bringing you to kind of a higher potential here, allows you to soar free like a bird. But really, when I was looking at the image that I clairvoyantly saw in this card, I saw an image of a field of sunflowers, and they were all looking at the sun, and wherever the sun went, it followed the sun, you know, and it was just really aligned with the sun. And so there's a connection to kind of the bigger part of you, the grander side of you, the more expansive, eternal part of you. There's the human part of you going through these experiences, and then there's that larger, more expansive, more grand side of you that's so big. And I see you lining up with that and following it and staying connected with it in December. And that's what allows you to line up and align with some of the things that you're wishing for, hoping for. It allows you to fly and allows you to heal. This is another card that came out, the Mountain. And this reminds me of kind of the big energetic undertaking that you're going through in December. You know, the energy of a mountain, it's epic, it's grand, it's challenging. It's also satisfying when you're able to climb to the summit of a mountain. You know, it's like going through all these challenges and hard work to get somewhere. And, you know, this is the type of energy I feel in your growth period. in December. Kind of like this fast growth that's happening for you, this fast acceleration, this fast expansion. It's kind of epic, like this big mountain. It might take a lot of energy to go through that experience. It might be challenging. It might feel overwhelming at times, but it's pretty dang epic. When I tune into the clairvoyant image for this card, I see this, cozy little fox-like creature that's kind of curled up, taking a nap. And he starts to wake up, and he gets up and he goes outside on his adventure. So I definitely feel this kind of adventure-like experience here. Like maybe for a while you've been withdrawn. Maybe for a while you've been taking a rest, keeping to yourself, being very introverted on your own. And it looks like you're kind of embracing the unknown, going out into the wild, having an adventure, beginning to live your life again. Embarking on something that's calling you. So it's interesting that this alignment is happening at the same time as there's like this awakening to what is calling you and the adventure and the unknown in the journey that takes you there. And it really just shows how epic it is and how challenging it might be, but worth it. Worth it to embody this kind of epic essence of a mountain. It's so strong. It's so grand. And look at this perspective you get when you're able to go there. So yes, lots of fast expansion happening for you. Big growth happening for you in December. I'm going to go ahead and pull another card. I just got a new deck for my birthday. My birthday was in October, but I got a deck called the Spirit Animal Oracle. Beautiful cards. So I'm pulling another card. I'm going to pull a card, and you get the Dove Spirit. Be peace. Again, we've got another flying bird in a card here. So we're going to learn a little bit more of what that bird energy is about here. Oh my gosh, what's so funny is this card, if you look at the bird, it's got a crown on its head. And this whole time I've been talking about your knowingness, which to me, I see like knowingness, like the crown on people's heads. Some people call it the crown chakra. I really feel some wisdom coming through in this card. If you've ever tuned into the energy of a dove, it is so gentle and sweet. They're not these birds that go after each other and try to steal each other's food and bully other birds, and they're not like these predator birds out there. They're sweet and they're gentle and they're patient, they're kind, and this is what the wisdom that I believe is coming through for you and your relationship to yourself. You're going to be going through a lot in December. A lot of growth that might kind of stretch your limits, bring you into the unknown, test you, be challenging yet epic. You've got a lot of fast opening happening on a knowingness level, a lot of ideas opening to potentials, releases that allow you to align with your heart. So I believe this card is coming through and saying, choose peace with yourself. Don't beat yourself up if you make mistakes, if you feel like you're taking steps backwards, if you're screwing things up, if you're a mess, if you're a shit show, That's what it's like to go through fast expansion sometimes. A lot of times when we're expanding energetically or we're expanding in our awareness, we're entering into new terrain. We're owning things in a new way. And sometimes that's not perfect. Sometimes it feels like you're troubleshooting something. You have to try something over and over again. You definitely make mistakes. You're definitely not perfect. That's why it's a challenge. That's why it brings personal growth. And so this card is coming through as a way to let you release any resistance to some of the challenges that might happen in this fast expansion. To be kind to yourself, to have some dignity, to be sweet to yourself. Because really the most important thing that you acknowledge in December is that you're expanding so fast and it's epic. And you're aligning with your heart. And that's what's most important. Not necessarily all the challenging and mistakes you make getting there. At least you're allowing that to happen. So be sweet to yourself. I'm going to pull one more card. I'm going to pull a card. I'm going to pull a card to, kind of speak to or clarify any of the challenges that may be coming up for you in your growth in December. See if there's anything and we get Artichoke Dragon, Guarded. When I feel into this card, I get the feeling of kind of having a reckoning with your own darkness. The things that are deep in your subconscious, old patterns, maybe unhealthy patterns, and kind of the way you used to maybe hide them or guard them from people. And what's challenging about this growth happening in December, it's just that you're not going to be hiding it anymore. You're not going to be guarding your darkness anymore or protecting it. You're going to be opening up to it, letting it release, moving on, choosing peace with yourself, accepting who you are, letting it integrate. So this card is kind of telling me that one of the most challenging things is that you're no longer hiding or guarding or protecting some of the old patterns and insecurities and issues that you've been hiding underneath the surface. You're allowing them to kind of release. The other card that comes up to help clarify this one, this guarded card, is watermelon, and it says success. So, it's kind of one of those growth cycles that could be challenging, but you come out the other side of it in a very successful way. You get to enjoy the benefits of your growth as you move through them. And so, you start to kind of let go of this pattern of being guarded and hiding things and suppressing things, and instead come into the success of opening up and letting it go and kind of embracing the darkness within. Not to become the darkness within necessarily, but to accept it, to no longer judge it, to hide it, to let it come out so that it can be dealt with, so that you can move through it, so that you can, fly and so that you can align and come into your potentials and, have a new perspective. So I hope you enjoyed this reading. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel. I'm going to go ahead and move on to those of you in your embodied enlightenment. Hello to those of you going through your embodied enlightenment. Welcome. I was tuning into you in December and I saw this image of you playing the piano, and it was like you were playing a song, but you were like creating the song. And as you created it, you would be like in the flow of your song, and then suddenly you'd hit a key. It wasn't quite the right one, and then you'd find another key and kind of play around on the piano. And then you'd find the right tone or key, and then you'd keep playing the song. And so really what I noticed about you and your energy dynamics in December was that you were kind of syncing up with your own rhythm. And there would be moments in December where things are kind of flowing really beautifully for you, like you're syncing up with your own personal essence, your own personal rhythm. And then at times something would be a little bit off key, a little bit, out of resonance with you in some ways. And it would be one of those moments where you just kind of have to, tinker around a little bit, experiment, discover, and find really what it was that did resonate with you. And then you just continue moving into that beautiful flow of being in your own rhythm and syncing up with your own kind of unique spiritual essence, your own unique song that your energy plays. It was a really beautiful image. And when I looked at, what did this image relate to, I saw that it related to this emotional healing that was happening for you. When I started to look at what that image related to, I saw that it related to you emotionally, like some kind of emotional healing starting to happen for you. And really the image I got was like when Cinderella puts on the glass slipper, except in this image I saw you putting on like a golden slipper or a golden shoe or golden, high heel. And it just looked so beautiful and sparkly and healing. And I could tell like emotionally, like your inner values, were starting to kind of impact your next steps in a beautiful way. And, your next steps almost look like you were going to a ball, just like Cinderella. She puts on the shoe, suddenly she transforms into this beautiful princess, and then she goes to the ball and she dances with the prince, and I kind of noticed that about you. Not that you're Cinderella, but just that, you're learning to like kind of play your own song, get into your own rhythm, sync up with your own spiritual essence, and like that seems to be very healing for you emotionally. And it allows you to kind of dance, as you move forward in your life. It's not necessarily about taking the right step or the wrong step. It's about really syncing up with your own resonance, with your own tones, your own essence, and dancing with it as it moves you through life. So this is a really beautiful image, and it's some interesting embodiment to be going through, to be experiencing that energy of syncing up with your own song, syncing up with your own essence, syncing up with your own rhythms, and then, every now and then just kind of being like, well, that's not the right thing that I want to do. That's not the next step I want to take. Something's off about that. And then you find it, and then you continue to dance with it. You continue to play with it. I'm going to go ahead and pull some cards here, see if there's any other information for you in December. Any other things popping up for you to know about? Any energy dynamics, clarity? Oh, okay, this one came out. And it's the Pilgrim. I'm going to pull another card to see if there's anything else that comes out with that card. The other card that I get for you is the vow, the pilgrim and the vow. So immediately when I tune into this pilgrim card, I get that experience of like taking a journey. Like, a pilgrim, starts a journey and they go on a pilgrimage, and it's usually lots of experiences that they go through until they get to, where they want to be at the end of their journey. And so this is kind of telling me, like, you're on a journey with learning how to play your own energy song. You're on a journey of learning how to sync up to your own rhythms, learning how to find the resonance with your own spiritual essence. It's a journey. It's a pilgrimage. It's kind of like, different experiences will bring up different limitations and different ways of you to sync up with yourself. And so this is what I pick up about this pilgrimage card. However, I notice the energy of a train when I look at a clairvoyant image for this card. So when I see the energy of a train, there's kind of an energy of a slow and steady pace. So this kind of experience of playing the piano, learning how to play your own energy song, coming into resonance with your spiritual essence, discovering the keys and the notes that sync up with you, discovering your own rhythms. This doesn't seem like a fast process. This seems like something that's just kind of slowly but steadily coming together for you through many different experiences along the way. When I see this card of the vow, I see that a part of what you're embodying is your ability to dance with your own energy and to kind of sync up with your own rhythms and resonate with things that are compatible or in resonance with your spiritual essence. And I do see kind of this energy of breaking vows. Kind of energetic vows. Things that might feel off key to you, that are no longer for you in present time. When you're really dancing, let's say you go to a ball and there's music playing, you're not there in front of the musicians and in front of the crowd telling them exactly what steps you're going to take before you take them on the dance floor. Usually before you get on that dance floor, you're feeling the music and you're like, ooh, I love this song. This is a great song. I'm getting into this. I'm starting to feel this. Oh, and now I'm moving my body. I'm shaking my butt. I'm, moving my head around, and then I start spinning, and it's all just kind of intuitive and natural. You're not promising anything. You're just dancing, right? It's spontaneous and it's intuitive, and it's like that music is moving through you. And anything that would have you commit to something is almost like a limitation. Because in a way, when you start playing your song and you start dancing to your song, it's like these vows, these old energy vows of who you're supposed to be, how you're supposed to be, what you're supposed to do, they start to limit you in some way. Some of this is karmic for some of you, kind of like a really dense seed of energy. And I see you in December cracking open, kind of like you would a nutcracker. You would just, place a lot of pressure on it and you'd crack it open. And that's kind of what I noticed. It's interesting because this card has all these like black circles here. Kind of reminds me of seeds. I was seeing the energy of like cracking open like a walnut or a hazelnut or, a Brazil nut, but like all these hard shells around the nuts and cracking it open. And so this vow energy in your space might be dense, might be old, and it looks like it gets cracked open. You can kind of see that energy of an opening here, like all the energy is moving outwards. And it moves in from this black into this kind of colorful energy on the outside. So I noticed some of you, you're breaking karma, you're breaking agreements, you're breaking old vows. And that's really to free you up so that you can like quite literally dance to your own song without anything inhibiting you or holding you back, so that you can have more fun. I'm going to go ahead and pull some more cards for you. See if there's anything else coming up. You know, I did see that energy last month in November of ungrouping, the energy of ungrouping. And so there may be a little bit more of that going on in December. Well, maybe not necessarily with groups of people, but maybe vows you've made with yourself, karma you have with other people, commitments that burden you, things like that. I mean, this is all about setting yourself free. There's a bird here, kind of coming out of the shadows. So this energy experience of you going through of, you know, every now and then you're playing that song, you're in the flow of your own rhythm, your own tune, and then suddenly it's like you hit a note that's off key. And that's kind of like that experience of finding a vow. It's like, oh, that's restricting me. What am I going to do with that? And it looks like you kind of break it open so that you can gain more freedom, so that you can really kind of spontaneously, enthusiastically kind of dance to your own song without being inhibited. Just any more information? Okay. Oh, all right. I get a couple cards coming out. One is reversed, but I get the energy of play, which I was picking up with this yellow energy, actually. When I was looking at this energy of yellow, I was like, it kind of reminds me of like having fun. You know, like break those serious vows, those serious commitments, the karma that like holds you back, that keeps you from dancing. You know, I feel like these vows is like the energy that would keep you, you know, inside of a ball, sitting in the chair in the corner while everyone else is dancing, you know? So I feel like when you break these vows, you get to step out onto the dance floor and start like dancing to your own song. So there is this energy of play coming through. And there's also this energy of the pillar. It was reversed. So I'm going to look into these two, see what I notice. So if you notice in this card, there's like two dolphins, and this reminds me of the fun that you can have with a partner or a relationship or with someone else, especially when they're playing their own song. So you're playing the piano, someone else is playing the drums, and suddenly you're like a awesome spiritual band playing some really awesome music with each other and dancing to it. And it just seems like when you find someone else that also knows how to play their song, some beautiful things can be created, some beautiful experiences could be had. If at the very least you can have a lot of fun and you can play. So this is definitely a card about kind of collaborating with other people, but collaborating with other people in a creative way. And mostly, you know, I'm kind of seeing that theme of music, like where you're spiritually learning how to play your own song, and you meet like another person who's also spiritually playing their own song and dancing to their own song and syncing up with their own rhythms, and how a unique experience can be had. A lot of fun and a lot of play can be had when you find someone like that, where you can just dance to your own music and even create music together. You know, not literally necessarily, but like metaphorically, spiritually. And then I saw this energy of the pillar, and it was reversed. So the pillar is like an example of someone who's just really strong. They hold everything together. Like a lot of people tend to depend on them. If you think about the pillar in a house or a pillar in a structure, it holds things together. And it was reversed. So it just looks like this is draining you. When you're trying to be strong for everyone and you're trying to hold everything together for everyone and be everything for everyone, where everyone's depending on you, and you know, you're the one kind of holding the space for everyone in your life to be healthy or safe or taken care of, it looks like it drains your creative energy. So this is where I think you're kind of breaking apart agreements with other people, old vows, old commitments energetically, so that you can kind of gain this freedom. Start playing with people that actually nourish you, that inspire you, that refill your cup. You know, they're not trying to take from you or lean on you or depend on you. They just want to play with you. They just want to have fun with you. They want to be creative with you. They want to play their own song with you too. And remember, this is a journey, kind of a slow and steady journey. I'm going to pull one more card from a new deck that I have called the Starseed Oracle. See if there's any other information for you about December. It's sticking out, and it's called Earth School. It says Earth School, life lessons, soul growth, study, higher learning. So when I see the image of this card, this person is diving into an experience. They're diving into an experience. They're having the experience. They're not judging the experience before they go into it. They're going to go into an experience it, and gain some wisdom from it. And this might be what it's like to start to play your own song, to dance with your own spiritual essence, to sync up with your own rhythms, to go on a journey, and to have those experiences where you have those beautiful experiences of letting your own spiritual essence flow through you in a beautiful way. And then some of those moments where you experience like a kink or something off tune or something that's not quite in resonance with you or something that's kind of off in some way. And it's just an experience. It's nothing to judge. You're not doing anything wrong. You're just discovering how to truly kind of dance to your own music. So when you have experiences that are a little bit wacky or out of resonance with you in some way, definitely refrain from judging it. And just remember that you dove in to have an experience, and this is the way that you bring wisdom to syncing up with your own energy song, your own spiritual essence, your own rhythm. And it's a healing. So you'll get to enjoy the results of it, the results of your wisdom as you move through these experiences. All right, if you enjoyed this video, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. It really helps me out a lot. I hope you have a great December. Take care, and I'll see you again. Bye.